It is time for our panel Rants and Raves of the Week, and starting with Dan.
Well, I'd like to take note of the tragic death of Michael Hastings, a reporter in his early 30s, war correspondent. His fiancée was actually killed in Iraq or Afghanistan. I'm sorry, I've forgotten which. He was married at the time of his death, but an earlier relationship, his fiancée was killed by insurgents. He's had quite a life. Best known for the Rolling Stone article in which he reported that General Stanley McChrystal and the people around him were making very disparaging remarks about people in the White House, including Vice President Joe Biden, led to McChrystal's resignation. He has continued to be a fierce advocate for a certain type of advocacy journalism. He had an email exchange with an aide to Hillary Clinton last year over Benghazi that I'd love to quote from it, but the FCC would be in here. It was just absolutely amazing.
He died at 4:30 in the morning in a high-speed car crash.
High-speed car
crash. You just got to wonder what was going on.
Well, his friends say that he was very agitated and nervous recently. Naturally, there are these crazy conspiracy theories going around as to what really happened.
Yeah, it's awful.
But it's a real loss.
Yeah. Callie, what have you got?
I'm so tired of being negative. I'm being positive today. I have a rave for Sri Srinivasan, who for so long has taught at Columbia for 2 decades. He's stepping away. His most recent position at Columbia is Chief Digital Officer. Before that, he was Dean of Students. He is a digital journalism whiz, an expert on everything digital, has been for many, many years. The great thing about him is he's so generous with his information. If he were coming into any town, including Boston many times, on somebody else's dime, he would work a schedule so that he could just teach some classes, and all you had to do was sign up and come. And he'd teach you all about the skills that journalists need to have, because that's who he was. He really is just a fine teacher and a fine person. Also leaves a legacy because he was a founder of the South Asian Journalists Association. And so he can say that he personally has helped shepherd some South Asian journalists into the journalism world in a very real way. And on top of that, he's a lovely person.
And where's he going?
He's going to be Chief Digital Officer at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So he's getting out of journalism, and he says, it's the Met, I'd have to go. I'm really excited.
He spoke to our students a couple of years ago. He's terrific, wonderful guy.
He teaches outside the classroom, too, because he'll take individual reporters, and he knows that they don't know that much about technology.
Wow. All right, Tom.
Yeah, ditto on all that. He's spoken at for our students also, and always on someone else's dime. But I'm not going to be a nice guy this week. I'm going to, I want to pour a little bit more oil on Sam Zell, who many years ago bought the Tribune Company, which included the Chicago Tribune, the LA Times Newsday, Orlando Sentinel, the Sun Sentinel, some very good papers, and he proceeded to drive them into bankruptcy. But the way he did it, he created a tax scheme where essentially he took all the pensions and all the assets that the workers, the reporters, editors, and others that those papers had, lumped them into a particular class that the IRS allows for employees, made them the single owner of this chain, and that meant that there would be, under the theory, no taxes that the Tribune Company would ever have to pay Uncle Sam. Now, regardless of whether you think this is immoral, just from a citizen standpoint, it ultimately deprived a lot of these people of what would have been their pension benefits and so forth. The IRS has now come along. Sam Zell's out of the picture now, but the IRS has now come along and said, to that plan. The Tribune Company is trying to emerge from bankruptcy. It's now been hit with a $220 million tax bill. Whatever hope it had of returning to some semblance of good journalism is gone.
All right, thanks. Roy.
Very, very quick one. A rave to Todd Wallack at the Boston Globe for keeping on top of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences scandal with Leslie Cohen Berlowitz, and it seems like every story he does has more detail, more people quoted, more sources. I really love that when they actually get people on the record.
That's quite a story.
It really has been.
All right, I have a rave also for the Boston Globe, and in particular Bob Hohler, who has stuck on 2 very important stories. The story of sexual abuse with the one-time tennis great Bob Hewitt, and this week he was actually indicted in South Africa on charges. A local woman who had accused him And it looks like he's going to finally be paying for that. And the second story that you got to give them credit for is the taxi cab, the medallion thing, that they've just frozen the assets of the two Tunjians, and that was a direct result of that great investigative report that Bob Hohler and his team did on the taxi cab system here in Boston. So, Rave to Boston Globe.
Work there.
All right. And that is it for Beat the Press. What do you think of an elected official who refuses to talk to local media? Send us your thoughts at beatthepress.org. Now here's Jared Bowen with a look at what's coming up next week.
Hi, Emily. Coming up on Greater Boston, I'm here at the MFA for some of its newest gallery openings, including period rooms, stunning silver, and this, the new Dutch gallery with 7 staggering Rembrandts.
That's Monday on Greater Boston. For all of us, I'm Emily Rooney. Thanks for watching.